Kelley Blue Book puts a rear window regulator replacement at $613 to $700. That's the number a shop slides across the counter when your window stops moving. Here's the number they don't lead with. On the most common vehicles in America, the replacement part itself sells for around $25 to $80. And in a healthy share of these dead window cases, the part that actually failed costs about $10, or nothing at all, because it was never the regulator in the first place. Today, the complete Power Window Playbook, the 5-minute tests that tell you exactly what failed before you spend a dime, including one you can do with your dome light. The safe temporary fix so you're not driving around with a garbage bag taped to your door. The honest walkthrough of the actual repair, including the 3 steps every other video skips, and the buying guide so you don't overpay for the part either. 3 things planted right now. 1. There's a $10 plastic part hiding inside your door that's responsible for a massive share of these $700 quotes. I'll put it in your hand later. 2. One of the biggest car makers on Earth once recalled 7.43 million vehicles over power windows. And it wasn't the regulator, it wasn't the motor, and the reason why will permanently change what you check first. 3. There's a step after this repair that almost everybody skips, and skipping it breaks a feature on your car that'll have you convinced the new part is defective. It's fixed in 10 seconds, free, and I'll show you. Let's go. Fast ground rules. Every price today has a name attached. Kelley Blue Book, Repair Pal, actual parts listings, and every one is an estimate that varies by vehicle and region because the honest truth about this repair is the spread. The same job quotes anywhere from about $140 to $900 depending on the car, the door, and who's asking. When something is mechanic consensus or forum wisdom rather than documented fact, I'll say so. And when the shop's price is actually fair, and on certain cars, it genuinely is, I'll tell you that too. This channel would rather lose a click than lie to you. 90 seconds of anatomy because you can't outsmart what you don't understand. 4 parts run your window. The switch, and note, the driver's master switch is the boss. On most cars, the other door's switches route through it. The motor, a simple 12-volt electric motor that spins one way for up, the other way for down. The regulator, the mechanism that turns that spinning into glass sliding up and down. On most modern cars, that's a cable system. The motor winds a cable around a drum. The cable runs over plastic pulleys, and it pulls a plastic slider, a clip, that's holding your glass. And on newer cars, a brain, the door module running the anti-pinch auto-up feature, counting the window's position electronically. Now notice something about that list. The glass hangs from plastic. The cable bends around plastic. And plastic that's spent 10 summers baking inside a black steel door gets brittle. Hold that thought. It's the $10 part. But we don't start there, because the cheapest causes aren't inside the door at all. Actually, before test 1, test 0, and I promise I'm not insulting you, the window lock button. On your driver's master switch, there's a little padlock icon button whose entire job is to disable the passenger window switches so kids can't play elevator. It gets bumped by knees, elbows, and drive-through bags constantly. And when it's on, every passenger window goes dead from its own switch while working fine from yours. Mechanics genuinely see cars towed in for this. Press it, test again, and if that was it, close this video and tell no one what happened. We'll never speak of it again. Test 1. The fuse. Cost, 0. Time, 2 minutes. Find the fuse box, find the power window fuse on the lid diagram, pull it, look. If it's blown, replace it. And if the new one blows immediately, you've got a short, which changes the conversation. But if one fuse just quietly died of old age, congratulations. You fixed a $700 quote for pocket change. Don't laugh, shops see this walk-in weekly. Test 2. The cross-check. Costs nothing and tells you more than most diagnostic fees. Does the dead window move from the driver's master switch, but not from its own door switch? The door switch is bad, $20 to $60, plugs in. Works from its own switch, but not the master. Master switch territory, all 4 windows dead at once. That's never 4 motors dying simultaneously. That's the master switch. It's ground or the fuse. One switch controls the empire. When the empire falls at once, blame the throne. Test 3, and this is my favorite because it feels like a magic trick. The dome light test. Sit in the car, engine off, key on, interior light on. Watch that light, or your voltage gauge, while you press the dead window switch. If the light dims, even a flicker, electricity is reaching the motor, and the motor is straining against something. Your problem is mechanical: a jammed regulator, a broken clip, glass off its track. If the light doesn't so much as blink, no current is flowing at all. Your problem is electrical: switch, wiring, or a motor that's electrically dead. One interior light just split your diagnosis in half, for free. This is a real technique working mechanics use, and almost no window video teaches it. Test 4, the door jamb flex test, and this one's for everybody whose window works. Sometimes. Between your car's body and the door, there's a rubber accordion boot full of wires, and those wires bend every single time that door opens. Tens of thousands of bends later, copper strands snap inside insulation that still looks perfect. The tell: hold the window switch while you slowly swing the door. If the window stutters to life at certain door positions, you've found a broken wire in the boot. This is a documented, known failure on pickups especially. F-150s and Silverados have formed threads a mile long, and the fix is soldering a wire, not replacing a regulator. Test 5, the tap test, with an honest label on it. Electric motors have little carbon brushes inside that wear down and can hang up on a dead spot. Hold the switch in the up position and give the door panel a firm palm thump right about where the motor sits, or have a friend close the door with authority while you hold the switch. If the window suddenly moves, you just confirmed the motor's brushes are dying. Mechanic consensus is blunt about this one: it might work once or twice. It is a diagnosis and a get the glass up trick, not a repair. The motor's on borrowed time, but now you know exactly what to buy. But now, the pivot. Say the dome light dimmed, electricity's flowing, the motor's trying, the glass isn't moving. Time for the mechanical suspects, and here's where the sounds tell the story. A motor that hums or whirs while the glass sits still. The connection between motor and glass is broken. A snapped cable, a cable that's jumped off its drum and bird nested inside the door, or a stripped gear. Grinding and clicking before it died. Same neighborhood. That was the cable chewing itself apart, and everyone's heard that sound in a parking lot and winced. And then, the classic, the pop. You press the switch, something inside the door goes pop, and the glass drops into the door like an elevator with a cut rope. Open loop 1, paid. That pop was this. A plastic clip, the little slider that grips the bottom of your glass and rides the regulator track. 10 summers of heat cycles turned it to peanut brittle, and today was the day. The glass is usually fine. The regulator is often fine. The motor is almost always fine. The failed component is a piece of plastic that costs about $10, and on several cars I'll name later, you can buy just that clip, often upgraded to metal, and skip the whole regulator. Here's the anti-rip-off math on this exact scenario. The counter quote: full regulator and motor assembly plus labor. That's how you get to KBB's 613 to 700. What failed? A clip. Even if you replace the whole regulator to be thorough, smart on a high mileage unit, the aftermarket part for an F-150, a Silverado, a Civic runs $25 to $80. The gap between those two numbers is this entire channel's reason for existing. Before the repair, the tonight problem. Your glass is down, it's going to rain, and the part arrives Thursday. If the glass dropped inside the door, you can usually reach in, carefully. Edges can be sharp, gloves if anything shattered. Lift the glass fully up by hand and secure it. Best method: wide painter's tape, several strips, up and over the glass onto the roof edge and door frame. Painter's tape, not duct tape. Duct tape in the sun for 3 days welds itself to your paint and leaves adhesive scars you'll be scrubbing at for a month. If the panel's already off, a small clamp with a rag patting the jaws, gripping the glass to the frame, holds even better. Gentle pressure only. Glass hates point loads. and a firm rubber door wedge pressed between glass and window channel works in a pinch. What not to do? Leave it down just for a couple days. An open window is an invitation to weather, to mold in your carpet, and to anyone walking past your driveway at 2 a.m. Get the glass up tonight, even ugly. Now the repair itself. I'm giving you the honest, generic walkthrough for the common cable-type setup, and I'm flagging difficulty honestly because doors are not created equal. On a bolted regulator clip panel vehicle, older GM trucks, Civics, F-150S, this is a genuine first-timer job. 90 minutes to 3 hours your first time, 45 for a pro. On the other end, frameless German doors, glued vapor barriers, riveted everything. This honestly becomes a pay-a-pro job, and I'll tell you exactly when. Step 0, and this is skipped step number 1, safety. Many cars carry side airbags or airbag sensors in or near the doors. Before you unplug anything electrical in that door, disconnect the negative battery terminal and wait. How long? Manufacturers vary. Some say 2 to 3 minutes for the system's capacitors to drain. The safe shop habit is 10 to 15. Check your manual, and either way, never ever probe a yellow connector. Yellow means airbag, and airbag circuits are not a place for test lights. The panel. Hidden screws live behind the door handle trim, under the armrest, behind little reflectors. Once screws are out, the panel pops off a ring of plastic clips. Pull from the bottom corners, firm and steady. Real talk. You will probably break a clip or two. Everyone does. A $10 bag of spares from the parts store turns that from a problem into a shrug. Behind the panel, skipped step number 2, the vapor barrier. That plastic sheet stuck to the door with black goo is not packaging. It's the wall keeping rainwater that runs inside every door from soaking your carpet and your door electronics. Peel it gently, keep the butyl goo intact, and when you're done, reseal it completely. A roll of butyl tape costs a few dollars. Skip this, and in 6 months you've got wet carpet, fogged windows, and a mold smell you'll blame on everything but today. The swap. Support the glass. Tape it up in the fully closed position before you unbolt anything, because the moment the regulator lets go, gravity gets a vote. Unbolt the glass from the regulator clips, unplug the motor, and unbolt the regulator, unless. Here's the honest fork in the road. On a lot of vehicles, the factory regulator is riveted in, not bolted. That means drilling out rivets and either riveting or bolting the new one in. Genuinely more work, more tools, more noise. 2 pieces of good news. Many aftermarket replacements ship with threaded hardware specifically so you never deal with rivets again, and the parts listing will tell you before you buy. If you open the door and find rivets and that's past your comfort line, no shame. Now you're hiring a shop with full knowledge of the job, and that alone changes the quote you'll accept. New regulator in, glass bolted to the clips, motor plugged, and before the panel goes back on, test it. Panel off, run it up and down twice. Nothing hurts worse than reassembling a door and hearing silence. And then, skipped step number 3, open loop 3, paid in full. You reconnect the battery, the window works, and your auto-up is dead. One touch doesn't work, or the window goes up and immediately reverses like it's haunted. Here is the 10-second free fix. The anti-pinch system lost its memory when the power died. It no longer knows where closed is. It needs to relearn. The generic procedure, and it's similar across Honda, Toyota, Nissan, Subaru, ignition on, run the window all the way down, then pull and hold the up switch until the window fully closes, and keep holding for 2 or 3 more seconds. Done. Position learned, auto up alive. Here's how big this one is. Subaru put out a service bulletin after testing piles of window switches customers returned as defective, and found the vast majority were never broken at all. They just needed this. People are replacing working parts over a 10-second procedure. Not you, not anymore. That whole ladder, fuse, cross-check, dome light, jam flex, tap test, is one entry in the 20-minute fixes guide inside the complete driver's defense kit. 82 pages, 12 DIY job shops charge real money for, each with its own honest when this won't work box, the noise diagnosis chart for sounds like that cable grinding before it snapped. and the Say It to the Shop wallet cards. $39. First link in the description. One dodged window quote buys it 17 times over. Open Loop 2, the 7.43 million, October 2012. Toyota recalls 7.43 million vehicles worldwide, about 2.5 million in the U.S. Camrys, Corollas, RAV4s, Tundras, Highlanders, Yaris, Scions. At the time, the largest recall in the company's history, over power windows. And here's the twist that rewires how you think about this repair. It wasn't the regulator, it wasn't the motor, it was the switch. The driver's master switch, which could stick, overheat, melt, and in documented cases, catch fire. Regulators broke nobody's heart in that story. Per the federal filings, there were over 160 fire reports connected to a part most people never suspect. Honda had its own version. Roughly 268,000 CRVs recalled over master switches and water intrusion, with 16 fires reported, a saga that actually took 2 recalls to put right. Documented fact, campaign numbers on screen. Why am I telling you this in a regulator video? Because it's the strongest evidence that exists for the ladder we built. The switch is not a footnote. It's a mass-produced, mass-failing, occasionally catches-fire component that the industry itself has recalled by the millions. And it's the second thing we tested, for free, before anyone said the word regulator. Now, the Wear and Tear Hall of Fame, no recalls here, just patterns every mechanic knows. Jeep Liberty, mid-2000s. Regulator failures so relentless there was a class action, and Chrysler extended the window lift warranty on certain years. Owners report the same window dying 4, 5, 6 times. BMW E46 and X5 era. Forum consensus says regulator failure is a when, not an if. Plastic clips again, and BMW won't sell you the clip alone, which is why aftermarket metal repair clips exist. Volkswagen Golf and Jetta. Mark IV, the clip epidemic so famous that the standard advice is buy the repair kit with metal clips this time. Chevy Cruze. Repeat cable and clip failures, $10 clips versus $150 assemblies. Just match your connector, 2-pin or 7-pin, before ordering. If you drive one of these, your window isn't unlucky. It's on schedule. And now you're ahead of it. Buying the part, no sponsor, straight talk. The aftermarket giant here is Dorman, and the honest practitioner consensus is a mixed bag that's usually a good bet for regulators specifically. Their weak reputation is in complex electronics. Their window regulators are widely used, commonly reviewed as decent, and carry a limited lifetime warranty at roughly a third of OEM price. The honest trade. An OEM regulator plausibly lasts longer. The Dorman costs $25 to $80, and if it dies in 3 years, the warranty replaces the part and you're out an afternoon. On a 15-year-old truck, that math usually favors aftermarket. On a newer car you plan to keep a decade, OEM's premium buys peace. Both are legitimate choices. Anyone telling you aftermarket is always junk or always fine is selling something. Assembly versus regulator only. If your motor passed its tests, it hummed, it ran on the bench, you can buy the regulator alone and reuse the motor, saving $50 to $150. If the motor's original and the truck's got 200,000 miles, the full assembly means not doing this job again next spring. And on the clip cars, the VWs, BMWs, Cruzes, check for the $10 repair clip kit first, ideally the metal upgrade. Cheapest honest fix wins. When is the shop's price actually fair? Frameless glass doors that need realignment after the swap. Riveted regulators on cars where drilling in a tight door is misery. Laminated acoustic glass that demands careful handling, and cars whose anti-pinch system needs a scan tool, not a hold-the-switch trick. On those, $600 is skilled labor honestly priced. And now you can tell the difference, which was the whole point. Myth kill. 6 shots. Myth, window won't move so the motor's dead. Kill, fuse, switch, jam wiring, or a $10 clip are all ahead of the motor in line. The dome light test sorts it in 10 seconds. Myth, you need the dealer for window work. Kill, on bolted regulator, clip panel cars. This is one of the most DIY-friendly repairs that exists. The dealer is for frameless German doors, not your Silverado. Myth: aftermarket regulators are junk. Kill: mixed but legitimate. Lifetime warranty, a third of the price. Forum approved on high-volume trucks. Myth's evil twin: aftermarket is always fine. Dies too, on a keeper car. OEM longevity is a real thing you're paying for. Myth: a humming motor means the motor's fine forever. Kill: the hum says it's alive today. A motor that needed the tap test to wake up is writing its farewell letter. Myth: taping the window is fine until you get around to it. Kill: it's fine until the first thief, the first storm, or the first week of adhesive baking onto your paint. It's a bridge, not a destination. Myth: the repair broke your auto up. Kill: nothing's broken. The anti-pinch memory reset. Window down. Hold up past close. 3 seconds. Subaru tested mountains of defective return switches and found most were exactly this. Clinic. Real questions, straight answers. My window fell into the door with a pop while driving. Textbook clip failure. Glass is almost certainly intact. Lift it, tape it, order the clip or regulator, and breathe. This is the $10 part scenario, not the $700 one. Works from the passenger switch but not the driver's master. Flip it around. The master switch or its wiring is your suspect, and the motor just proved itself innocent by working. Master switches plug in. Many are a 15-minute swap. It made a grinding, clicking racket for a week, then quit. That was the cable fraying and finally jumping the drum. Expect a bird's nest inside the door. That's a regulator replacement, but the motor likely survived. Bench test it before buying the full assembly. Replaced the regulator myself, now the window reverses when it hits the top. Anti-pinch thinks something's in the way because it never relearned closed. Run the initialization. If your specific car refuses the manual procedure, some do genuinely need a scan tool. That's a one-time small shop visit, not a redo. Dorman regulator died after 2 years. Did I get scammed? No. You experienced the trade-off. Claim the lifetime warranty, get the free replacement, and decide with open eyes whether to spend an afternoon or spend triple for OEM. Both are rational. Windows crooked and crunches after I slammed the door with it half open. Glass jumped its run channel or a sash clip let go. Panel off, reseat the glass in its track. Check the clips before condemning anything. Sometimes this one's a $0 fix and 20 minutes. Shop quoted $680 for a rear window on my Corolla. Fair? High. That's the top of the national rear window range. Repair Pal's Corolla class number runs roughly $280 to $420, and the part's often under $100. Show them the model-specific estimate and ask them to walk you through the difference. Watch what happens to the quote. Can I just unplug the motor and leave the window up till payday? As a stopgap, yes. Secure the glass first so it can't drift. Know your auto up will need the relearn afterward. And remember that an unplugged motor is a parked problem, not a solved one. All 4 windows died at the same instant. One switch controls the empire, remember. 4 motors don't hold hands and die together. Check the fuse, the window lock button, and then the master switch, and it's ground. This is the scenario where somebody gets quoted 4 regulators, and it is never 4 regulators. Why do these plastic clips even exist if they fail like this? Honest engineering answer: weight, cost, and noise. Plastic sliders are light, quiet, cheap to mold, and perfectly strong for the first decade. Inside a door, though, they live through 140-degree summer heat soaks that slowly cook the flexibility out of the plastic, the same way a dashboard cracks. The engineers bet the clip outlives the warranty. They're right. It's you, the second and third owner, who inherits the bet, which is exactly why the $10 metal upgrade clip exists on the cars that eat them. While I've got the door apart, should I replace the other side too, before it fails? Reasonable instinct, split answer. On the clip-eater cars, the Jettas, the Cruises, the Liberties, where the same part fails on schedule, doing both sides of a high-mileage car while you've got the tools out and the confidence up is legitimately smart. The second door takes half the time of the first. On everything else, no. Regulators aren't a matched pair like brake pads, and replacing a working original with an aftermarket part can actually be a downgrade. Spend the money on the butyl tape and spare clips instead. It's 20 degrees out and my window's frozen. Is forcing it what killed it? Very possibly. And here's the free prevention. When glass is iced to the seal, holding the switch stalls the motor and loads every plastic part in the system at once. Crack the ice loose by hand first. The repair you avoid is this entire video. One breath. The whole playbook. Dead window. Fuse first, then cross-check the switches. Master versus door tells you who's guilty. Dome light test. Dims means mechanical. Dead still means electrical. Intermittent window. Flex the door jamb boot. Motor wakes to a thump. Brushes dying. Replace soon. Pop in a dropped glass. The $10 clip. Tape with painter's tape tonight. Never ducked. Repair day. Battery off and wait. Spare panel clips. Reseal the vapor barrier. Watch for rivets. Test before the panel goes on. And run the auto up relearn. Down fully. Hold up past close 3 seconds. Buying. Regulator only if the motor passed. Dorman with the lifetime warranty on the old truck. OEM on the keeper. $10 metal clips on the cars that eat clips. And at the counter, is that the regulator or the whole assembly? Was the motor tested separately? Is the relearn included? And will you show me the failed part? Those exact sentences live on the wallet card in the driver's defense kit, next to the full 20-minute fixes guide and the noise chart that would have named that grinding cable a week early. $39. First link below. Cheaper than 1 hour of anybody's labor rate. $700 and $60 are the same repair separated by one thing, knowing what actually broke. Now you know. And so does everyone you send this to before their quote gets signed. Now you know what they know. Drive smart out there. More shop-priced fixes you can do in a driveway? The 2-minute AC reset video, the one that started this channel, is on your screen right now.